A few people here hanging out.
Yes. Always we've got Blaze.
Yes. And Patty's here. Patty's
Yay!
here.
Hey, Miss Patty!
I have it up on my computer here so I can see when we actually go live.
Same.
And still not.
Oh, it just popped up for mine.
And it just popped up for mine. There we go.
Gotta love an internet.
Yes. All right. Welcome to Wednesday Chat.
Yeah.
Brand new.
What is
1
that?
week only. Next week we will be back to Tuesdays as long as everything goes as planned.
Yes.
Lindsay, you want to tell everybody why we're meeting on Wednesday instead of Tuesday?
You sound accusatory, and I don't know if I can handle this.
It wasn't my fault. All I'm saying is it wasn't my fault.
It was me. It was my fault. I was not within Wi-Fi range to be able to live stream. I was in an airport internationally where I could not even use like regular, cell service to do the live streaming. So
really it's not that I'm accusing.
Okay.
Because you always do all the fun places and do all the fun things, and here I am at home cleaning up dog poop and stuff.
And sifting through snow, which actually is jealous worthy for me.
It was a dusting. It wasn't much of anything. We had just like a little bit. Actually, it was funny because it was Bub's first snow, and so he was out there like,
snow.
He's like, what is this? This is so strange. And then of course, since he's all black, all the snowflakes on his back it was so cute. It's so cute. Everything that happened, all the firsts that happen with a little puppy are just so cute.
Super cute. Super cute. Unless they like burn their paws on hard concrete in the summertime.
Yeah, I guess there's a few firsts that are not great.
Yeah, first vomiting is probably not that great. But we're gonna totally not go that path this time.
Come on, Lindsay. We got to cool it on the vomit talk.
I know. We're gonna lose everybody, and they're gonna lose their lunch.
Seriously, yeah. A lot of things getting lost here.
All right. So for realsies, I was traveling. Oh, go ahead.
Do you have your coffee?
I have coffee.
Okay, good. We gotta appease the coffee gods, and I have my cute little fried egg and my little jam egg bread.
That's adorable. That is so cute.
Oh, and I have my froth half and half from my new frother.
That thing was so cute. I loved it.
I mean, that's half the reason I got it.
I mean,
it's so cute.
And the other half is stainless steel, so obviously it's a 10 out of 10 win.
And I even waited an extra week to get the green one. I could have gotten the white or the black next day.
No,
but I wanted the green one.
Green is literally my favorite color.
Yeah, me too. Because we're the same person.
That's right.
And I think it's Kimberly's favorite color too, because she always leaves the green hearts.
I agree. And her handle, her little K on her avatar deal is green.
Yeah.
My favorite. I love green.
Not Lindsay. Tell us, Kimberly, if green is really your favorite color. All right. What do you have?
I actually have cream in my coffee, which is surprising, but I guess it's not that surprising. It is afternoon, which would be when I would put cream in a coffee if I were having cream in my coffee. I felt very coffee deprived this past 6 days. So I felt like I need to zhuzh the coffee.
Yeah. So we need to know why you look like a raccoon.
Okay. So there's a lot of things that happened. Also, my poor skin is peeling, which is not as noticeable on screen. I don't think. I've got a lot of weird red splotchies. It's been so great, and the tops of my hands are somewhat burnt. Allow me to give a better demonstration.
Yes. Yes.
See, there's multiple colors. This is my natural translucent color. And then this is what I look like in the sun. And then from this line up, you can see I had a swim shirt on. So just the backs of my hands are looking extra colored. And so I was in Grand Cayman.
Imagine it was worth it.
Oh, it was
Grand Cayman.
I was in Grand Cayman.
I mean, seriously. So worth it.
It was worth it. But I also get sun slapped no matter what I do. I can put on all of the chemical sunscreens, all of the physical sunscreens, the coconut oil, like trying to acclimate my skin. It does not matter what I do. It's going to be slapped by the sun.
Yeah.
So,
I usually get that way at the beginning of summer, and then it's like I get my base, and then I'm good from then on out. But I always, right at the beginning, it always happens.
not me. I'm like slap, 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 slap. I just get beat up by the sun. But I love it because like I know that my body is assimilating all of the things it needs to assimilate. So
Yeah.
I'm like, it'll be what it'll
Worth
be.
it.
It'll be what
Worth
it'll
it.
be. And I wear a swim shirt that's got, like the physical blocker, like of UV protection. So I'm like,
Right.
but I also really
You're doing your best.
some sun exposure, especially when you're that close to the equator, is probably solid.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
the way
Excellent.
I got sun slapped though is by having a dream realized that I have held tightly to for the past 3 years almost. And that was I got to go kiteboarding for the first time ever. And it has filled my heart with joy. I was
my
awful
God.
at it, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah. Did you take any video?
So I wanted to so badly. We brought our GoPro. We had it all organized. Like, okay, we're going to try to do this thing. But my husband organized where we each had an instructor at the same time. So we were both learning to kiteboard together. We could have done like opposing, like 2 hours of his lesson and then 2 hours of my lesson. But we were like, no, let's get this done. Let's do this because we wanted to go paddle boarding afterwards. He has an inflatable paddleboard. And so, we can just launch from anywhere. And so we were like, we want to get it, like, we want to get the kiteboarding going. And then we want to go and do the paddleboarding and the snorkeling and doing all the things.
All the
So
things.
you can't really film yourself or really set it up well because you are up and down this beach and up and down this water. Like you're not in one spot ever.
Right.
And
You could have had the GoPro on your forehead.
I could have.
That would have been dedication.
I don't think Miguel would have appreciated that. That was my instructor's name. Jared's instructor was Dan, I think. I think that was his name. Anyway, these guys had been
Shout
kiteboarding
out to Dan
for
and Miguel.
more than a decade, and they were from the Dominican Republic. And these guys were incredible at this skill. I'm like, okay, so much to learn, so much to do. And I really thought it would be an upper body, like overexertion, but really the belt links to your abdomen, like your core. So a lot of the like not stress or strain, but a lot of the work is really done by all of the cords with the kite. And you are just like making the tiniest little movements on the bar to be able to guide your kite where you want it to go. But it was such an awesome experience. And
so is kiteboarding the same thing as windsurfing?
So I think that there's a lot of different nomenclature when it comes to these kind of water sports where you're using wind as your power source.
Right. And a sail.
Yeah. So I imagine
Surfing.
Windsurfing has a mast and a sail attached to that mast with a sort of like a bar so that you're holding on to that and you're catching the wind and steering it that way. Kite surfing or kiteboarding means that you've got this massive kite with an inflatable leading edge and it's got 4 strings coming down to the bar. And you're basically flying a massive kite and capturing that as your power source to lift you out of the water and across the water.
That's crazy.
But the board itself doesn't look like a surfboard. It looks like a wakeboard. So that's why I think it's kind of like kiting and wakeboarding kind of mashed together. And I think you can buy tons of different gear. We thought about doing another session of 2-hour lessons, but we figured out financially that if we were to have done that, we could have bought our own kite and board and belts and all that stuff, and then been able to go to one of the lakes around here and practice ad nauseum. So we learned all of the safety, information, all of the tactics, all of the things. And now it's really just a matter of practice and, just doing it. and
Yeah.
I am game.
Yeah. So there's a city here in Oregon, Hood River, and
Yes.
it's like it's either windsurfing or kiteboarding. I don't remember which one, but it's like
Okay.
the capital of the world of that sport, and it's a
Oh,
very common place to come and do that. But I don't remember which one.
cool.
Oh, I mean, it seems like you could
Yeah.
do both in a place like
Well,
that. Yeah. So I mean, I'm saying is what you should do is come and visit so that you can kiteboard here near me.
absolutely. I'm down 100%. I will say, I think that the gear, because I am so short and my torso and my legs are, pretty proportional ish as far as like length goes. Um, I think I needed a board that had the feet slightly closer together so I could get
Mm,
better leverage. Once,
hmm,
like, I only was able to get up a few times. They spent over an hour teaching you how to actually maneuver the kite, how to fly the kite well. And then it was a little less than an hour on the wakeboard itself
ah,
to fly, to like drag you around. Jared was able to get on and have a pretty good run, at least once. I also was not able to just like keep eyes on him the whole time because I'm trying to fly a kite.
trying to not die.
So, um, and it takes a lot of mental acuity and focus to remember, like, not only are you trying to observe where you're going, but you need to keep eyes on your kite at all times, knowing how to catch that wind to keep you
Mm,
going. And it was an intense and awesome experience, and I was so bad at it, but hmm,
that's great.
we'll be we'll be investing at some point in our lives in gear.
Nice. That sounds awesome. Okay, so Kimberly said that her favorite color is green, right? And she
Excellent.
collects frogs, which is awesome. And then she
Hmm.
also said that her daughter has a home for sale in Hood River.
Oh, wild.
So, I mean, it just seems perfect.
I do see a lot of dominoes lining up for us to make a
Yeah,
make a
I mean,
wave.
it's like what else
Hmm.
is there to do? Follow the signs.
I mean, I don't know how much like stronger they could be.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then Lori said that it's super windy in Port Huron, Michigan. It's great
Mm.
for kiting.
Yeah. Yep.
It's windy here too. I had to drive my mom to the airport. She stayed with our children. And on my way home, I could just like see all of the semi truck like tractor trailers going down the road just kind of warbling and warbling. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to get around all these people so that they don't warble into me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about Hood River is it's like right down the gorge and it's windy,
Yeah.
windy, windy, windy.
Yeah. I remember
And
it being
you
very
lived
windy.
in Troutdale or somewhere.
Fairview,
Yeah, and
right
that's very
outside of
windy because
Gresham.
it's
Yeah.
just west of there in the gorge.
Hmm.
Yep. Okay, let's see. So Patty's here, Suzanne is here, Blaze, Roxanne, Rickwin, Gary's here. I'd be like, all right, let's just weigh the risks here first and let's really really decide if this is a good idea or not.
Nah,
But
nah, we're just
yeah.
gonna go
But
all
I,
in.
I I could be talked into it in the right circumstance.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Well, and I'm kind
Uh,
of like, I kind of get it in my head. Like, I want to do these really cool things. And I also have the realist perspective of I'm going to be terrible at it, at least for this first, like, however many sessions it takes to learn how to do the thing. And
yeah.
so, knowing that it's going to be difficult and it's going to be learning completely new grammar, completely new language for that activity or sport, it's going to be hard. And
Yeah.
we're quickly approaching that 40 mark where your brain's pretty well all done. It's been all done growing in a certain
Yeah.
way for so long, so
Yes.
new things are going to require a little bit different approach than it would have if I was 12.
That is
And
true.
so going in it with like a realistic perspective, I think is way more attainable, and it just like makes the experience that much more fun. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was telling my instructor Miguel, every time that I would like fall back into the water or do something like not get the kite right, I'd be like, let's go again, let's go again, let's go again. And
Yeah.
we could have purchased like a 6-hour lesson pack, which
Oh my
we
gosh.
probably would have been like, like not pro, but we would have been really proficient by that point. But I'm like,
Yeah.
2 hours and I am like, I need a break.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do think I'd be more likely to do that because it's over water.
Yes.
Something that's over land is a little bit more scary for me. Like,
Hmm.
when I was a teenager, I tried going, snowboarding with friends, on Mount Hood, and
Yep.
about broke my wrists, and it was horrible, and I'm like, "I'm done with that." But falling into water, I can handle that.
Yeah. I took Jared and I, we went snow skiing. Well, he had never gone snow skiing as a kid. I always went snow skiing with my parents like every other year or every few years. And I love snow skiing. It's so much fun. And so he had never gone. And when we were living in Fairview, for I think it was our Christmas gift. Like we had very few dollars to rub together. So he bought like the tiniest little lift ticket he could and the rental and everything. And he was like, let's
Mhm.
go snow skiing. And I'm like, yeah. And so him trying to learn to snow ski, it was fantastic. And I was like, how many times are we going to get to do this a year? Because I am down. I
Nice.
really belong out west. It's true.
Yeah.
I need access to all of the mountains and all of the lakes and the rivers and all that stuff. I just need that.
The
But I also want
signs continue
water.
to line up. Okay, so let's see. Egan is here. Hello from snowy Colorado. No school, so the kids are home. Oh, that's fun. I didn't know that they well, is it no school because of the snow? Because I assumed in Colorado that wasn't a thing.
I would assume it would have more to do with road conditions than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean it's the places that don't get snow very often that have to shut the whole city down
Right?
when there's, a skiff.
Right?
I
Well,
assume
no,
Colorado would not be that way.
yeah, unless it was ice. I know in Texas that was like always the main
Uh,
factor. They would shut down for ice.
yes, yes. All right. Oh, Jackie Evans is here, and she is a local friend. She's a fellow homeschool mom, and she's asking if we're going to see each other at KetoCon. Are
Yeah,
we?
we are
Yeah,
so excited about
it's
that.
going to be awesome. Are you going to come, Jackie? Anybody here watching? Are you guys coming? Let us know. We're very,
And if
very
you're
excited.
not sure, don't forget, Neely, which way are you? You are this way. Neely has that discount
Yeah.
for like $50 off on your ticket. Also,
Yep.
let's just do this. It's way more fun.
Yeah. Oh, also, I'll mention here, I got an email from a subscriber who is planning to come to KetoCon. Oh, Jackie's not planning to come at this time, which means
Oh,
it could change.
we
So
got
I got
9
an
weeks.
email, yeah, from a subscriber who's planning on coming to KetoCon, and she was looking for someone to like room with, to split the
Oh.
cost. And so I said I would put the word out. And so if anyone is interested in finding a roomie,
Mm-hmm.
let me know and I can hook you guys up, together. We have family in that area, so we're staying with them. So I'm not looking for a roomie myself, but if you are, hopefully I can connect people
There.
because
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be great.
hotels are not cheap.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like Airbnbs and Verbos and all of those also, they're not cheap either.
No, they're really not.
It's just one of those things that you commit to the fact that it's going to, be a vacation adjacent type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Peggy said that she's going to go to Bronson's keto conference in Maryland in July. I didn't know that he was going to have a conference. That's cool.
That
Coach
is cool.
Bronson. Yeah. Yeah. There's not a lot of keto events in my area. We're too vegan over here, I guess.
Yeah.
we've got all the vegan events, but no keto events really. So one day that would be fun if they came in this direction.
Yeah. When we lived in Oregon, it did feel like there was a much more, like obviously the veganism and vegetarianism was just like rampant around there. But it
Yeah.
just seemed like people out there had a higher interest in food and generally speaking, like health and wellness compared to when we were in, when the Midwest.
Yeah.
Generally
Oh
speaking,
yeah.
it was more challenging to find like-minded people, except in the North Woods of Wisconsin. So many people were so like just sustainable kind of food people. Like, oh,
Yeah.
we hunt for all our meat, not just some of our meat, but like all of our meat.
Yeah.
We like to do these things. We like to fish. We like, it was just more like trying to live off the land in a sustainable way. So
Yeah.
it's interesting how different regions really kind of draw different mindsets for food.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, so there are a lot of health conscious people here. Like
Yeah,
it's a big deal, but health conscious can mean a lot of different things. A lot of different things. So there's a lot of, Beyond Burger and Impossible Burger and tofu, and there's always a vegan option
it's
at the restaurant.
impossible that anybody's going to be fooled by that burger.
Well, apparently not here. Apparently they're enjoying it.
It's kind of like that confirmation bias. Like, I want this thing to be this thing, therefore I will think it is this thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I have done that myself with like like different recipes and stuff where I'm like, it's good.
This
And then
cookie is so great.
I like it. And then I have my husband taste it and he like knocks me back into reality. He's like, no, that's terrible.
I will say, having a spouse that is willing to try those things and be like, I'm going to say no, but also
Yeah.
you could do this instead.
Yeah. Yeah. So the
It's
nice
useful.
thing about having a husband like that is that when I do come up with something good, I know it's good.
That's right.
He does not sugarcoat it for me. So the breading recipe
He doesn't
that I've been
allulose coat it.
doing, exactly. The breading recipe that I've been doing, he's like, it's as good as regular breading. Like he legitimately likes it as well. And the kids too. Like it's one of the first ones that they actually ask for and
That's
think
awesome.
is as good as regular. So I'm like, praise the Lord.
We've got one. We got
Yeah.
one recipe that's going to
Yeah.
be forever.
Yeah. So anyways, that there are drawbacks to having a husband who always tells the truth. And then there are also benefits.
Yeah, I kind of feel like for me the benefits outweigh the
I agree.
drawbacks.
I agree.
Like,
I mean, sometimes I feel like I want to be, coddled and, sugar coated, but in
those are
reality,
the times we really don't need to be coddled.
yeah.
When we need that hard-hitting fact-based truth.
Yeah. No, this tastes like cardboard.
Yeah. No, it's really good. It only has like
Try it
6
again.
tablespoons
Try it
of butter
again. It's
for.
really delicious. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, Debbie's here. She didn't hear a notification, but she's here now. Yay.
Welcome, Debbie.
We're only 23 minutes in, so we're just getting started.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Rick Wynn is coming to KetoCon. Excited about that. Gary's going to be there. Let's see. Anybody else say they're coming? Peggy says KetoCon's too far. I already said that. Oh, Cindy and your sister and your husband and your niece are all coming to KetoCon. That's awesome.
Are all of y'all following a low carb way of life, Cindy? Or is this going to be kind of like a way to encourage them to join? I kind of feel like though you've been doing this for a hot minute and have been successful on it. So I'm assuming people have joined you in your quest for health. Oh, Stella Marie Smith, you're in the UK. That'd be quite the long swim.
Yeah. Suzanne can't make it this year because of a new job. That's a good reason. Let's see. Oh, Blaze is not going to be able to make it. That's a bummer. It would be fun to meet you. but maybe
I
next
will
time.
agree. The back roads, if you have to be on back roads for 4 hours, that is much. That's awesome,
Oh,
Cindy.
Cindy says yes. That's so cool. I love that. I love it when you can create community for, whatever lifestyle you're leading within your own immediate community. Because
Yeah.
it's great that we have, the YouTubes and all the social media, and that like serves a purpose. But when
Yes.
you're able to do it with people physically in your real life as well, like that just takes it to the next level.
It
Which is
does.
why KetoCon is going to be so fun, because it's like marrying those two. We're going to have all of our social media friends in real life.
It'll be super great. I'm super jazzed.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so we should probably move on to other topics. I imagine we have already heard about your exercise for the week. Or did you do anything on top of the kiteboarding?
So the morning my husband had to work, and the airplane he flies requires 2 pilots. And oftentimes the other pilot, his wife, she has a um, internet-based job where she can kind of go wherever as long as the work gets done. So she was going to go to the Caymans, and so we planned for me to go. And she has a 28-year-old daughter who is a yogi, and so she's been really getting into yoga. And she told me the first day that we were there at the hotel, like, they've got yoga on the beach. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
cool. I'm not a yoga person because it is so like focused and intentional and somewhat slow and just like very, very controlled. And I tend to do so much better with like Pilates, because Pilates has a faster pace for me. And any of these action adventure sports, I'm down with it, because I'm like, oh, we're moving, we're doing the next thing, we're doing the next thing. I'm a little bit like a chihuahua in that respect, I guess.
I can see that.
And so trying to do yoga on the beach was exceptionally challenging, but it was an hour-long class. And the funny thing was that the instructor, she would say, okay, we're going to hold this downward dog for 5 breaths. And then I would be at breath 16, and she would finally say, and now we can. And I'm like, my shoulders are dying. I can't with this. And I was so petrified, because then I was going to be, like on a kiteboard. And at that moment, I was thinking, my shoulders are just gonna like explode, like, like rubber bands that have gotten dried out and tried to pull. And fortunately, that's when I learned it wasn't really a upper body workout so much as like an overall body. But the hour-long yoga on the beach. Before that, I had a pretty long wait at the airport the day before that. And so I spent an hour fast walking, like mall walking at the airport terminal. And I was carrying my backpack. Like, I only travel with the backpack because I like to be as hands-free and on the go as possible. So I was like doing laps around, and I got so hot, working up a sweat. I had already gotten like 4 miles in that time frame, just walking. And I did that on Thursday when we left. Yoga on Friday morning, kiteboarding on Friday midday, paddleboarding on Friday afternoon, and Saturday and Sunday and Monday. And
so you could probably just take a week off.
I mean, if we can find a kiteboard and some thicker wetsuits, I might try to convince my husband to go to the lake.
There you go. There you go.
But what about you?
Okay. So I think I'm an all or nothing kind of person. I decided this week because I all of a sudden went from nothing to all. I had to write it down, or I didn't go back and count how many that I did this last week beforehand, because I wanted to show you that I started writing things down.
Ooh.
So I did yoga 2 days. I did a
Nice.
hike.
Yeah.
I did strength training plus yoga a couple of days.
Uh-huh.
And then it seems like there's something else that I did. Oh, and then I've been wearing my Fitbit and getting around 8,000 to 9,000 steps a day.
Nice.
So I got in several yoga sessions and 2 strength training sessions.
That's awesome.
So I don't know, something switched in my brain.
This requires
and
a
my
dual
body.
high five to each other's faces. Ready, set, high five. I was hoping that we were going to do that at the same time. That didn't.
We tried.
High five yourself.
Yeah. Pat myself on the back. Yeah. So one thing that I noticed after the first strength training, so I did strength training and then yoga on the same day. After I did that, my mood was noticeably better.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's
huh,
awesome.
maybe there is something to exercise making you feel better.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of a reinforcement that I needed. But the other thing interesting about it is I don't remember ever having that response before when my iron has always been low. And I'm wondering because I would, have in my mind, if I don't have energy, I should exercise. And people say that exercising gives you more energy and all this stuff. And I never felt like that was the case for me. Like I'd go to the gym in the morning and the rest of the day, I'm just like exhausted.
Yeah.
And now I'm wondering if that was partially because of the iron issues.
Yeah.
And now that my iron is at a decent level, I'm actually feeling those benefits. So that was kind of cool.
That would be an awesome correlation and like link to be like, okay, if I have slightly higher elevated, or not elevated, but slightly higher iron and ferritin, I feel better whenever I work out. Everything is just starting to click together.
Yes.
That would be an interesting correlation for sure.
Yeah. And so it goes back to that idea of you have to take your own body's state into consideration before you decide if, this diet is good or this workout program is good or whatever. It's like, because we want to objectively say this diet is good or right.
Yep.
But depending on where your body starts, I mean, it can be infinitely different for different people.
Yeah.
And so that was a really interesting kind of connection to make for me. So
yeah, I think that's fantastic. I love it when you have information and you have your hypothesis and you're like, I think this might be a thing. But then you really get to like put all the pieces together and all of a sudden the equation does work out right. And it's like, okay, there may have been multiple variables here, but I think my hypothesis is at least trending toward being right.
Yes. And I've definitely been in the situation where I was utterly convinced of the science of something. Like, for example, exercise makes your mood better. Like, I was like, that makes sense. I agree with that. Like, I agree. But my personal experience did not line up with it fully.
Yeah.
And it didn't mean that wasn't true. It just meant that there were some other things in the way. And so, just having all those pieces come together was kind of cool and very motivating.
Yeah.
Like when I know that I'm going to feel better throughout the day after I exercise, like, why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah. Well, I agree. Even if it's hard in the moment, it's like, I still want to keep going. I want to keep pushing through. I want to keep doing more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
well,
I'm
and
also more
that's the way exercise is a lot of times is your body does get used to things. So you should, continually increase, not to the point of over exercising, of course, but
sure.
But there should be some kind of a progression, which is good.
Yeah. We don't need
Peggy
to exercise
said she got 10,000 steps for the week. Good job. And yes, there's always room for improvement. Always.
I love the eye roll emoji.
Yes, Lindsay is an overachiever, and apparently this week I became an overachiever all of a sudden. Let's see. Okay. Constance said she just discovered this page because she has low RBC. I forget what that stands for, but it's on the blood
Red
panel.
blood cell count.
That sounds right. And you have to get an iron infusion. Let's see. But the MDO ran all kinds of tests on me and they don't know. Yes, that's exactly where I am at with the iron is I don't know why it keeps dropping so fast. And I've been on the path of treating the SIBO, which I've gotten tons of benefit from, but so far have not seen the iron situation resolve. So I'm really happy that I did it. I'm really happy for the results that I've gotten, but I'm still not 100% there with the iron thing. And
Well,
it's so frustrating because it could be so many different things.
mhm.
And it could just be genetic. Like I could just not absorb iron well. Like that could just be a thing.
That's very probable. There's,
Yeah.
I think also knowing that you've got multiple factors happening, you know, with the SIBO thing and the iron thing, and just
Yeah.
in general, how your body is operating, trying to like force a nut, like force too many changes in a positive direction. It might be more than what your body is willing to do at that time. So just like
Mhm.
being able to improve SIBO, I'm with you. Like that's a fantastic improvement in and of
Yeah.
itself. And then
Yeah.
once that's kind of like on its own, just sort of rolling, you can then maybe
Right.
have your body decide, like, oh, maybe now iron is something that we have enough capacity to focus on.
Right. Yeah, because there's so many layers to it because I
Oh,
know I had nutrient deficiencies as well, maybe related to the SIBO, maybe not. Um,
sure.
and so just anything that I can do to make my body function more optimally,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a good step down the path of figuring out the iron issue. Like, how could it not,
Right.
The better
Right.
my body gets it functioning, the better it should function in all areas.
Yeah.
So,
I kind
anyways.
of think about it like if there's a plumbing issue in a house and it's kind of like a house-wide issue, like there's something wrong with the sink in the kitchen, and there's
Mm,
something wrong with the bathtub in the bathroom, and there's something wrong with the
mm,
spigot outside. There's just like problems all over. You can't really go in and say, I'm going to do everything all at once. You kind of like say, okay, I'm going to deal with the kitchen, and then I'm going to deal with the bathroom, and then I'm going to deal with the spigot outside, or whatever the
right,
case
right.
may be. It's, you know, I feel like our
You gotta
bodies
get to the
are,
root cause.
yeah,
Yeah.
really, our bodies are amazing.
Yeah. Well,
And
and then in, the Western medicine world, it's like, oh, you have a problem with iron. Here's a medication or a supplement to fix it. And you're like, well,
yeah,
that's good, when it's needed to get you back up to functioning. But it's like, let's try to look at the underlying cause and figure
right.
that out so that we don't have to do that.
For a
That
long
would be
time.
ideal. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still in the in between there. Is everything okay?
Yeah. I'm just hearing a whole lot of wind sounding like it's creaking all of the things. Or at least
Oh,
like blowing things against my house.
I think I heard
Very
it.
strong wind.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, we
It's like
have
Twister.
sunshine today. I
Yeah,
don't
we've
know
got
what to deal with. Beautiful day. Okay, let's see. There were some comments here. Roxanne said, "I believe that exercise makes you feel better. I love it, but I just can't right now." And yeah, that's
well,
what. Go ahead.
I think she was also kind of referring back to the previous comment she stated, saying she's not exercising because she pulled a muscle in her neck. And it
Yes,
happened at yoga last
yes,
Wednesday.
and that's where you take into account the state that your body is in. So we can
Right.
say yoga is good, yoga is healthy. It makes it's good, it's a good thing. But if you have a pulled muscle in your neck, it might
Probably
not be good for you at that moment.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Blaze said,
Speaking
I would think working on the microbiome and improving that would make exercising easier also. Happy gut bugs make a happy body. I totally
I
agree with that.
definitely
Totally
agree.
agree with that. I think like that was a big thing that I just kind of put to the side for a long time because I was interested in microbiome health and gut health for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like when I was eating paleo and stuff like that. And I did like candida cleanses and different things. I never really got to the root of my problems with that. And the problem with it is it's very expensive because there's a
Yeah.
lot of testing and supplements and trying things out. And so it just got to the point where I couldn't continue with the expense of it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I really moved more towards keto carnivore because that's cheap. Like that's easy, that's cheap. And I'm really happy that that option is available
Yeah.
for, I mean, like we've talked about before, it's like a sledgehammer. Like it has an effect.
Yeah.
Seriously, when you're dealing with a lot of these, really horrible symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then I went through that and found that it did help my symptoms as long as I stayed on it, but it
Mm-hmm.
didn't get me to actual healing, or at
Right.
least not fully. I think it did heal some things, but it didn't get me to full healing, especially with my gut. And
Yeah.
working on my gut and working on my microbiome, I think is making a huge difference in, where I am with my health right now. So
Yeah.
I don't like to say like, oh, I did carnivore and I decide now that it's bad. And now I'm doing this thing and it's good. Like I don't want to live that way. Like there are so many benefits to having the carnivore diet be an option, and there are people for whom that is the thing that like will change their life and that they need, and I don't want to discount that. But there are also lots of other things that can be helpful and beneficial for different people depending on the state of their body when they start. Always going back to the state of our body when we start.
Yeah. Well, and I
So,
mean, with any time that you're taking your body and trying to do something different with it than what you had been doing prior, every single step you take is a step in a direction, whether it's going to get you to the next step or not. You kind of have to spend a little time at each spot to discern, is this really it? And if you hadn't done those things prior, it's possible that you would not have gotten to the place you are even now. And if you weren't doing the things you're doing now, it's possible that you wouldn't get to a place of healing that's even beyond what you've already accomplished in this amount of time. So
yes,
it's
I
like just
totally
being
agree.
able to appreciate and recognize the value of each of those steps. I think people tend to need those black and white parameters rather than saying, for the season I was in, this was what I needed. And
Right.
now I can move forward. Instead, it's like black and white, bad, good. I don't know if it's, valid or invalid, but it's a no for me.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
thing is, I don't know if I'm ever going to have to go back to where I was. I mean, I feel like garbage when I eat carbs, and
Mm-hmm.
yet, I don't know if 10 years down the road, I'm going to say, ooh, I really do have to eat some carbs in order to alleviate something in my body in that season. And
Right.
if that's the case, then I don't want to be wrong, or I don't want to be like eating my words along with
Yeah.
carbs.
Do your words have carbs?
They could. They could. I
Good.
used to ask the kids the question, where does a word go when you erase it?
Mhm. Very clever.
You gotta just ask all the weird random questions. So, do words have carbs? Maybe if they're empty.
Well, you could speak sweet words,
Ew, sugar.
sugary carbs.
Sugary words, those are carbs.
Risa said that she finished reorganizing her extra room, so she has a new pantry area. That's fun.
Ooh.
Um, it makes her feel really good and want to finish the baking pantry. Oh my gosh, more than one pantry? That sounds amazing. Actually, I do have a basement
Yeah.
and an upstairs pantry area, so yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Madhu Vicker says, "Do you guys believe in alternate day fasting?" Well, I believe it exists.
Yeah. I don't know that I would put my salvation in it, but I
Yeah.
do think that it is a useful tool if you've got something that you're trying to accomplish. Um,
Yeah.
I think that there's loads of really good research out there to support it, and I'm sure there's loads of research to tell you not to do it, but I don't think that for my personal lifestyle at this stage of the game, I need to do that. Now, if I was dealing with something like a cancer or, something really serious, I might go into some serious fasting for stuff like that. But
Yeah. Yeah, I think for my views on it is I think it's a very powerful tool.
cool.
And just like the keto diet, just like intermittent fasting or extended fasting, any of those I think are super powerful tools that can be used for really good purpose. It can
Mm-hmm.
also, since it is so powerful, it can also cause problems if used at the wrong time, in the wrong way, taking into consideration the state of the body, when you start. Also, I think it's really important with any kind of fasting that you're eating enough and eating nutritionally enough in your actual eating time, because you could say alternate day fasting is great, but if you're fasting all day one day and then you're eating 1,000 calories the next day, that's not good. That's gonna, get you messed up real fast.
You'd be better off just fasting for a longer period than eating 1,000 calories.
Yeah. So yeah, true. So just a blanket statement of, is alternate day fasting good? I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say it's a
Possibly.
powerful tool that,
Powerful.
depending on the person and depending on how they use it, could be good or could be bad. There you go.
Agreed.
Okay. Lots of comments here. Lots of comments.
So Rebecca is making one of the different types of fermented dairy. How do we pronounce this one? Akkermansia?
Yeah, Akkermansia. I've heard that one before.
I'm actually eating El Ritarai right now.
Excellent. I just had some for breakfast. It's become my go-to breakfast is all my yogurts with my Equip protein powder and like a sprinkle of perfect keto cereal. Like I could eat that every day and be so happy.
Honey nut cereal from Perfect Keto, strawberry MCT oil powder from Perfect Keto. El Ritarai. I did have to put like a splash of heavy cream in it to sort of thin it out because it was so thick. I couldn't hardly mix the powder into it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I found that when I put keto chow in my yogurt, it makes like cheesecake. It's so thick.
Wow.
Like even thicker than the protein powder, thicker than the MCT oil powder. Like it's literally like eating frosting.
It's probably that acacia fiber.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. And there's xanthan gum in there too. But
do you remember that season when you couldn't eat xanthan gum?
Yes. Yeah.
Look at you now.
So I found after that if I ate like a sauce or something that had just a little bit in it, I was fine. The problem I had was when I was using it as a thickener, like for soup where it was a lot of it.
Sure.
I haven't gone back and tested if I can do that again, but I can have keto chow and I don't know how much xanthan gum is in it, but I can have that with no problem. And it would be interesting to try that again, like using it as a thickener and see if I tolerate it better. I think I probably would.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it yet.
It's amazing how the body can change.
It is. It really is. Okay, so Sarah asked, let's see. Sarah asked, have you been checked for MTHFR? A close friend of mine had the same iron issues. She switched to a methylated folate and it made all the difference. Okay, so I have been checked for MTHFR and I was positive. I don't remember all the details because you can have one or two or whatever. And I think I had one and I don't remember the details. And I do Athletic Greens has a methylated folate in it. The iron supplement I do take also has a methylated folate in it. So I am getting that. It hasn't, been the thing to fix everything, but I am doing that because I do know that I have that mutation. Oh, Jack is here.
Hello, Jack.
Yay. Let's see. Roxanne says she has histamine issues that cause gut issues. Just finding this out and having switched to carnivore and doing low carb now. Yeah, the histamine thing is so frustrating because it's like,
too many variables.
Too many variables. And like, because meat can have high histamine if it's been stored in the, cooked and then stored in the fridge for a while. So you always want to have like fresh cooked meat. So always having to cook your meals fresh is like a huge frustrating thing. And so I expect I have have some intolerance to histamine or some issue with them, just because like the rosacea and stuff I think is probably partially a histamine response. But I haven't had the wherewithal to try to make my diet super low histamine and see if it made a difference, just because it's so difficult. And with histamine issues, it's not that you should just cut out histamine forever, and always be on a low histamine diet. Like, that's not the way that you fix it. There are other things you can do to try to, like we've said, try to make your health better in different ways, and then that allows you to handle the histamine better. So I've just been more focusing on those things rather than trying to go on a low histamine diet. It is frustrating because that can be really difficult to nail down because there's so many variables. Let's see. Oh, Rebecca said that she did the ombre gut test. That's the same one I did. And Akkermansia was abundant. So it works. Taking the yogurt that was cultured with it. That's awesome.
That's very
good.
cool.
Yeah, I'll be interested to take another one of those tests maybe in a few months after I've been eating this yogurt for a while, because I had no bifidobacterium in my list of bacteria. And so I've specifically been trying to consume that in the yogurt.
Right.
And it'll be interesting to see if that does translate to actually having more take up residence in my gut.
Yeah.
That would be exciting.
And you know what I thought was so interesting? You had said that, who was it that you had heard from or heard some piece of information like C-section babies, formula-fed babies, they would have lower, like it made sense for them to have lower count for those, whereas you were natural birthed with breastfed and all of those things and you had none. And I'm like, I was a natural birth, but I was fed formula from the get-go. So I think it's maybe not a causation, but a correlation. But then also,
that was from Dr. Nikki, the gut microbiome queen here on YouTube. And she had said that because she was going over her details of the test, and she said that she was a C-section baby. I think that's what she said. She was a C-section baby, and she had a low level, and she's like, well, that makes sense. I'd like it to be higher, but it makes sense that it's lower. And then when I looked at mine, and I'm like searching bifidobacterium, and it's like 0 results found. That doesn't seem good. So anyways, we'll test again at some point and see if that changes. And the interesting thing is that probiotic that I bought that had the bifidobacterium longum in it, the name of it, probiotic, is mood, and it is specifically supposed to help you have a better mood. Like, that's one of the things that it does.
Were you able to find that on Amazon?
I believe so. Let me look. I can find it here.
Was it from Garden of Life?
I don't remember. Let me see. Oh, here it is. It's Innovex Labs.
Oh, I see it. It's a yellow with a purple.
Yellow with purple, yeah. And it's not expensive. Like, that's the thing about this stuff is it's cheap. And if you're making the yogurt out of it, you're making a food that you can consume and is calories. So, and then you can use starter from the batch previous to start the next. So it ends up being a very cheap way to supplement. And you might have to, add some more probiotics as you go along, like from the capsules. But like I bought this thing of 60 capsules and I used maybe 2. And it's been over a month and I still have it left to use when I need to.
Yeah. I mean, $20. It's pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty cheap right there.
I love that. I love it when you can find things that are
Help.
simple, cheap, easy to remember to do because they're delicious, and it's like Dr. Davis says. He's like, if this intervention, was something really serious, like go cut off your limb and it'll fix all your problems, then you should be sure before you go and do it. But when it's just eating a yogurt every day, like,
Yeah.
why not just try it? Like, maybe
Yeah.
we don't have all of the evidence to say 100% for sure this is exactly what it does. Not try it if it's, I love stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. A simple consumable thing like
Yeah.
preventing, or, if you've got a cut and it's starting to get infected, you could easily just put a Band-Aid on it and see if it helps to protect it a little bit. Or, chop the finger off. I don't know. To me, that I agree with you there. Like something as simple as just trying a food, which people try new foods all the time. Literally every day, people try new foods. So
Right.
it's not really gonna like be a lifelong commitment if you find that it does not jive well with your biochemistry at that season of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've eaten a
So
lot of weird
Debbie,
things as we have traveled, and I have not died yet.
oh, well, that's good. That's good. Debbie was saying she wishes she could get keto chow and element in Canada. So I know that Canada has what's the
Oh,
Switch Grocery? That's what it is.
that's right.
Switch
I was
Grocery is
struggling to
what
figure that out.
Janet talks about, where she gets keto chow. So maybe try there if you haven't.
Thank you, Rick Wynn.
Yes. As far as Element, I did not know that you couldn't get it in Canada.
Yeah.
Anita, ketogenic woman, she has Element and she does Element and she's in Canada. So I wonder if it's just extra expensive, like shipping,
Maybe so.
or what. But I was thinking that people in Canada could get Element. So if anybody has info about that,
It looks
let us
like you can get
know.
it on Amazon, but that's not the most cost-effective way, I wouldn't think.
Yeah. Did you look on Amazon.ca?
That's where it's popping up.
Okay.
But usually they have to mark those prices up a
Yeah.
smidge just because the cut that Amazon takes
sure.
from those companies is so steep, which
Yeah.
definitely why it's best to go directly to their websites. You're going to get a bigger bang for your buck.
Yes, and you can use my link or Lindsay's link and get the free sample pack with your
Yes,
order.
you can.
Yeah.
Be much obliged. Either.
Yeah. Sophia said that she made the El Ruderai and it has been a game changer for her gut. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, Ketogenic Woman has a link for Element, so definitely
I
go through her link.
I wonder if it's a special link for Canadians. That would be cool.
I would think so. That would make super sense. Not just
'Cause
some
it
sense,
would
but
be weird if she was promoting it and people in
sharing it.
Canada couldn't get it. That would be very bizarre. There's got to be a way, but I do understand that it's expensive, and if you have to pay shipping on top of that, I get it.
Yeah.
And there are other ways to get electrolytes. And actually, one cool thing is on the Element website, they have a recipe for making your own electrolyte. So they recognize that there are people that can't afford, to buy the delicious packets. Like, we love them. That's one of the reasons I get them, is because they're delicious.
I took piles of them with me to Cape.
But if you can't, there is a recipe to make them very cheaply at home. I did a video on a similar recipe, and then Element has a recipe as well. So
thank you, Jack.
Yes, thank you. Good.
As an aside on that particular note, I really admire and appreciate companies who are willing to say, we create this product, but if you want to create it for yourself or need an alternative, here is a good way to do that. And I just feel like that's very respectable. I know Keto Chow goes through and they put like all of their measurements of all of their different things and whatnot on their website as well. And while the flavorings or colorings or whatever, I don't necessarily like want piles of those. I do appreciate the fact that they put the work in and then they also share. It's like a
Yeah.
transparency thing. And I do think that that
Yeah.
is so admirable in any company.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to the motivation behind the company is
Yeah.
to help change lives and to give people tools to be healthier.
Yeah.
And yes, they're making money, and yes, they're wanting to support their families and their employees and all that, and that's great. But that doesn't supersede the desire to, put this information out to help people get healthy, no matter what their financial situation is. So I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, I know right now my budget doesn't allow for me to be able to like buy keto chow all the time. And I
Yeah.
just put out a what I eat video showing the blueberry pie that everybody
Mhm.
is just like, it just, I really hate to say that it's so good, but it is so good.
I know. I know. Same thing. I was like, I'm going to taste this and I am going to give my honest opinion on it. And I'm
Yeah,
not going to be swayed by all the people saying it's delicious. And it was freaking delicious.
I know.
Same with same with the pecan sticky bun.
Okay.
Like
When that one
so
comes back in,
good.
I will save my dollars for that.
Yeah,
Everybody's got like their
definitely do
budget
it.
laid out, but I'm like, I'm going to hold on to these dollars. And I
Yeah.
have the element actually on the big box order for like once every
Mhm.
6 months right now. And I'm like, okay, we really got to ration them so that I make it every 6 months because like I really love having them and I don't want
Yeah.
to run out, but I also do not want to stomach the cost more often than once every six
Yeah.
months.
Yes. Yeah, and I get commenters that are frustrated because I use a lot of these products often.
Yeah.
And, you and I are both in the situation where companies send us stuff.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to use it. So it makes more financial sense for us to use them on a daily basis than maybe somebody else. And we
Right.
recognize that. Like,
Absolutely.
I am not expecting, and I tried to say this in a recent video, I'm not expecting everyone to go out and get a NutriSense subscription and go buy a
No,
Lumen device and go, get the Element and get the Keto Chow and get all the perfect keto stuff. Like, I'm not saying that
it's
everyone needs
not
to do all
reasonable
of
for
the
everybody.
things. No,
Yeah.
no, and there's probably very few people that it's reasonable for them to do all of those things at once.
Yeah.
But it's like what we are able to do is show people options so that you
Absolutely.
know what's out there, and then
Hmm.
as a consumer, you get to pick and choose and decide what is of value to you and what isn't.
Well,
So,
and it's not like you were just handed piles of Element Keto Chow, the Lumen device, the NutriSense subscription, all of these different things. Like they weren't just dumped in your lap all at once. It was
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
like a gradual adding. And you know, I do have my subscription for Element that I actually pay for out of like my money right
Mhm.
now because I do think the product is worth it at this point in my game.
Yeah.
And like Perfect Keto, I I do buy with cash money a
Yeah,
lot of
me
those
too.
things because I eat the strawberry MCT oil powder practically daily. Like I change it up every now and again, but it's almost a daily thing. And
Yeah,
it's like little things like that. I'm going to keep using them. And while, yes, the company does send me things occasionally, and I do earn a slight bit of commission, and you earn commission.
yep,
That doesn't mean that that's fully like stocking my pantry with the products that I actively use every single day.
right.
Um,
Yeah,
and it's a slow, gradual adding. And I still value being able to do everything super simplistically. Like whenever we travel, I'm not bringing all of these products with me when we travel. I might bring like a Mallow Munch bar for the airplane and a packet of beef jerky and
mhm,
an Element packet for the plane, but then ration my Element packets while I'm there because it's super hot. And so,
yeah,
like there's choices. You have to be judicious with what you choose and what you leave
right.
behind for the time being. And also, Linda, you mentioned that not having keto chow because you're afraid you're going to like it. And I would be lying if I didn't say
Oh
that was
gosh.
also a bit of a fear of mine.
Yep.
I I definitely don't want to become dependent on something that I might not be able to afford in the future
Yeah.
or might not be able to afford monthly, even at this stage of my life.
Yeah. That's why I didn't try the Equip Prime Protein for so long because it was so expensive. And then finally, when I did, I was like, dang it, it's delicious.
That's the worst. And you're like,
It's the
well,
worst. Why do
and
these
now I know that,
companies have to make such delicious things?
well, and if the value proposition is that it's so good and clean and they're beef based, right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of
It's
those
like
things
eating
where,
a 4-ounce steak every time you have a scoop.
yeah, it's one of those
Legit.
things where it's like, oh, I know the high quality and the value added to my life. I couldn't have done that when we first, like in 2016, I could
Yeah.
not have paid for any of these products at all. But as like our financial situation has sort of shifted and adjusted, it's like, okay, I can allocate small amounts over here or over there and just be intentional with the
Yeah.
fact that, okay, I might be running out of a thing. I'm going to save for it for the next sale.
Yeah. Well, and I also love about like the keto lifestyle or low carb, you can do it without any of these products. Like,
Yeah.
and the companies will tell you this. Like
Yeah.
if they're honest, which the ones that we work with, we believe are, Keto Chow or Perfect Keto, like they will say, eat real food. That is the
Yes.
most important thing. Use our products as needed for convenience, for fun,
Yeah.
just for enjoyment. But like the base of the diet is real food. So it's different
Mhm.
than something like something like Ginny Craig or
What it,
Nutrisystem or whatever, those
yeah.
ones where it's like you had to buy the food and that's like which the only things that you ate.
Yep.
It's even a little bit different than like Weight Watchers and stuff. Like they have products and stuff, and it's like those things make your diet better somehow.
Yeah.
But with these, they do make your diet better, but more for like the enjoyment or the convenience. But
Sure.
they're completely unnecessary in order to get healthy and to get results. And I love that the companies will come out and tell you that. Like,
Yeah.
this is for fun. This is our gift to you so that you have a cookie or a granola bar or and so you can, feel a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
will
you don't have
argue
to.
though, real salt with Redmond's, like that one, I feel like that's
That's a little different.
necessary for me.
A little different. Yeah, I agree. I
I,
agree. Salt
we,
salt is a food group.
that is a food group. I pulled out I take
I
my little
love it.
keychain of real salt filled with my little tiny baby shaker. Like that lives in my purse. And I would pull it out every morning at breakfast and I would use my salt and I would put it
Yep.
away.
Yep.
That's one of those where I'm like, salt is salt, but this salt
It's
is the best.
essential.
Well, and I just have loved Redmond since like 2014 when we lived in Lehigh, and I'm like, why can't we get it here in the stores? Like, so anybody who doesn't even know me, like, I could be walking through Walmart or something, and be like, try the real salt.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Okay, Debbie said that she has ordered Element from online, I
For-
guess, and it's
okay,
double the price. That stinks. That stinks. And she used Anita's code. Good, good.
nice. Okay,
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, if double the price is a lot.
that's hard.
Really a lot. So, but like we said, there are other options and you can do it extremely cheaply. Like the recipe that I did a video on, I think probably over a year ago now. It's like salt and, if you can get Redmond real salt or Himalayan
Yeah.
pink salt, that's better. Like the no salt, that's just basically potassium. You can find that at the grocery store. It's cheap. Baking soda and Epsom salt, that's food grade. Like I
Yeah,
think that's the 4 ingredients. And all of those are super cheap and you can make gallons and
both of
gallons
them.
and gallons of electrolytes. And
Yeah,
you can get the benefits.
yeah. Funny side story. Jared was in Nepal on a mission trip and he went to one marketplace and he was backpacking, so he was very limited on his physical space. And he said, hey, look at this. He texted me a picture of it, and it was like big giant crystals of pink salt from the Himalayas. And
Nice.
it was so inexpensive. I was like, oh, how many bags can you bring home of that? And he was like, I can't bring any of them. There's not one small enough to squish into my backpack.
Oh my gosh.
That
How
would have been
sad.
amazing. But
Yeah, seriously.
he got to have real Himalayan salt, like super close to the source.
That's amazing. Cindy said she just had some banana pudding and some peanut butter pudding, both with keto chow. That sounds so good. So good.
I'm really not hungry, so food does not sound good. I just finished that bowl of the El Ruderai fermented dairy and all the
But
things.
you can imagine that it would be good when you were hungry.
We're gonna go with that. Definitely go with that.
Yeah. Let's see.
Sophia asked a question a little bit back.
Okay.
I'm assuming she's saying, do you think she needs to keep up the El Ruderai if she's doing SIBO yogurt since that has it in it?
So that's something that I'm curious about also. Like, if you ferment them together, how much lessened is the probiotic count for each one? And I don't really know. And I've thought like, oh, I should just ferment them all separately. But I haven't had the wherewithal to make that happen because that's a lot of yogurts. So I haven't continued with just the El Ruderai alone. I just have it in the three strain super gut SIBO yogurt. And according to Dr. Davis, that's like what he's using to try to treat SIBO. So I'm trusting that he knows what he's talking about and that it's enough. But maybe, you could try, if you feel like you're not getting the benefits from it that you want, try adding the El Ruderai separately and see if you are, just kind of do your own detective work and figure out what makes you feel the best. Yeah. But I haven't. Even though if in a perfect world, I would. If I had all the time in the world and could just live on yogurt all day long, I would. But do them all separately.
I don't know that I would do that.
Yeah, it might not work out well in the long run.
I would be more in line with, if I had to only choose one thing for the rest of my life, it would be lion-ish. So ribeyes, livers, and coffee.
Yeah. There you go.
And hang out right there.
No problems there. Let's see. Any other comments that we missed?
I like how Linda, she's giving us a thumbs up that we do our best to try to make sure we tell people don't go beyond your means.
Yeah.
I think that is a message that I need to be reminded of often. And so anything I share on my channel, I'm usually trying to preach that to myself first. And I'm like, don't do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And it is really hard when we are, sponsored by companies or, earning commission.
Yeah.
I understand that people automatically, have that flag in their mind, like, oh, they're just trying to make money. Mm-hmm. And that's not something we could get around besides people getting to know us and, learning to trust us, which I hope that happens. But it's something that I just accept that people will think that, and that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. A lot of people think a lot of things, and
they're entitled to that.
Exactly. All right, we should probably wrap it up here because we're at almost an hour and 15 minutes. Time flies when you're having fun.
How does this keep happening? Like we purposed to be like 30 to 45 minutes, and now all of a sudden, here we are, hour 15.
It's like we're just passionate about things or something.
It's so weird. So weird.
Well, and I think I saw we had like over 70 people in the chat at once, which
I saw that too.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you all so much for being here.
I wonder if Wednesdays are better than Tuesdays.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, but anyways, thank you everyone for joining us. And yes, Blaze is reminding everyone, hit the like button and
if you don't mind.
Love. If you liked it, if you don't like it, that's fine. No judgment. Yeah. If you didn't like it, why are you still here?
Well, I mean, even if you are here and you don't like it, we're wrapping it up. So
yeah. We'll get out of your hair. All right. Anything else next week will be on Lindsay's channel. So definitely go subscribe to her if you're not already, which I'm sure you all are. And it'll be back on Tuesday again.
Back to Tuesdays.
Yes. All right.
Yeah. We will see y'all later. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.